Hello everybody and welcome to BroomWagon. You will not get there on a road bike. Today is a special episode. There's gonna be a couple of announcements between the beginning and the middle, mostly the middle and the end of this episode. So keep your ears quite well peeled to hear everything about that. Let's take everything off the way. Down in the description you will find a coffee link. Please drop some coins, because in this way this podcast can stay independent as it is. Then remember that you can follow the BroomWagon Podcast and Calamaro CC, myself, on Instagram, and send me there whatever message you want. I think it's the best doing in this way. Otherwise, hello@calamaro.cc, but nobody uses emails anymore, but just messages. I'm not gonna give you my number. Not yet. Maybe after a couple of interactions on Instagram we can discuss about that, but not now. Then you can find this podcast in all your platforms of choices or platforms of choice. And another little thing is that you can actually subscribe, put a rating, do whatever, I don't know, something like put the notification button, the little bell that you can find close to my name, and this would help out doing something that the algorithm likes, so sharing with everybody. But sharing could also be done from you directly. You know what to do. Today's episode, let's move into that. If there is one single race that fascinates 98% of the ultra endurance aficionados or racers, I'm probably part of one of those. I'm not gonna tell you what. Is the Tour Divide. Tour Divide that is starting mid-June. To be precise, every year, and the second Friday of June, 8 o'clock in the morning, Banff time, so Vancouver time. If you are in Central Europe, 8 hours later, so 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then in Banff is 8 o'clock. It's one race that goes from the top from Canada until Mexico, and the route is amazing and everybody talks about that, and it's just something that stays into your heart. This year this race will be taken by my guest of today, Quinda Verheul. Quinda, we discussed about her name and surname. I misspelled that already so many times, but I think it's enough. I'm sorry for it. And today I already interviewed her, but you're gonna listen to my interview with Quinda. I met her thousands of years ago now. It was 2020, before pandemic, so 2 eras ago. And we met there, and then we discussed about doing a project together this year, and here we go. This is the interview. You're gonna know more of anything that we are gonna do together in a bit. Enjoy it now. People, it has been interesting because we have been spending half an hour, Quinda, probably?
Yeah.
More or less setting up levels and chitty-chatting about stuff. And I was talking about my day, and Quinda was telling me about the future of the next days. So, but it was super nice. So probably now we can start already warmed up. How are you doing, Quinda?
I'm really good. I had just had a shower. I had a run already. So I feel like this is a proper start of the day, and we can get to chat about the future things and all exciting things that are coming. So
That's amazing. And how many coffees already?
I had one coffee. I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine, so one is more than enough. How about you? How many did you have
2.
today?
But I woke up at 6.
Oh, that's fine.
That's for many people.
From 6 to now, that's a proper amount.
Yeah, I have actually my little one. He likes to wake up at 6. So this means that as soon as I prepare breakfast for him, I prepare coffee for me. So that's the first coffee. Yeah. I actually shy away from getting the second coffee when Marzia wakes up, because otherwise at that point I could have been already 3. So first coffee as soon as I wake up, and then tidying up all the kid stuff and family duties, bringing kids to the daycare and everything. Then coming back home, tidying up the mess, and then having a coffee and waiting for the final drop of caffeine to kick in. That's my routine. And today is Tuesday. Even if usually I do something that I should never do, because it's not good for my, I would say, stability. But I usually I do intermittent fasting on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But yesterday I went out with a bike, so I had breakfast. So today I didn't have breakfast.
Okay, I was just gonna ask if you need some food with the coffee because you're making breakfast for your little one,
Yeah,
and if you would make some breakfast for yourself as well.
usually I do. Even if I
Usually,
have, it depends actually. If the night before has been something like doing everything earlier, then I usually have breakfast for the little ones and I do breakfast for me. For them, it's a bit more kind of classic milky biscuits and some bananas or fruit. For me, it's the classic porridge. I love porridge, I have to say.
yeah, same for me.
Yeah, in the English way though, not in the Scottish way.
What is the English way?
The English way is with milk. In this case, I use oat milk. Otherwise, the Scottish way is with water. That's why.
Oh,
That's what I.
wow, gnarly.
I mean, it's you need some sweet in your life, right? And I think
Oh
that
no,
oat
my
milk
my
is alright.
porridge is super fancy. I like put banana in there, and then the banana's becoming sweet, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like put cinnamon and like
So you
chia
also the
seeds and
cinnamon.
everything.
Yeah. Okay. What
Yeah.
about chocolate? Do you put chocolate on top?
No chocolate. Sometimes I do put peanut butter in
Of
there
course.
to have like a real big calorie dense meal in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I do something big, but yeah, it depends a bit on how the stomach wakes up as well. Can it handle like a big porridge meal, or does it just want a light porridge meal?
Yeah. I have to say that usually my stomach works really well in the morning, and my problem is actually afternoons or evenings.
Oh, really?
But yeah, in the morning I can eat everything, and I love it. I mean, it gives me that thing that I need.
Lately, like the past weeks, I had really big training weeks, and I just
Mm.
wake up at 5 o'clock hungry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I just wake up and I go eat something. I actually go back to bed. I just wake up 1.5 hour later and do a second breakfast. That's the good ones.
Oh, that's nice. So
Yeah,
basically, waking up hungry, having
yeah.
breakfast, going back to bed, waking up hungry, having second breakfast, and starting the day. I love it.
Oh, my life is all about like exercising and eating.
Yeah.
It's a bit tiring sometimes, but I even have it with like doing like having my dinner at 8 or something like that. And just before I kind of fall asleep around 11, sometimes towards 12 when I'm pushing it. I'm often in bed around 10 already. But I would be like, I'm actually more hungry. Just like my partner is always like a bit funny because he just like hears me like walk back to the kitchen, making more food, eating the food, going back to bed. It's like a little mouse that is just like raiding the kitchen. Yeah.
That's super nice. Yeah, I have the opposite problem that I usually am the one cooking for everybody. And so
Yeah.
I eat while cooking and I eat after cooking and then I'm tidying things up and then I'm hungry
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. If you have two
Craziness.
kids, you kind of have to help them eat their meal and like encourage them to take another bite or not. I don't know.
That's always the thing. Absolutely, that's always the thing. And
Yeah.
the worst thing, as I was telling before, I mean, I come back home after bringing them to the daycare, and all basically the breakfast is on the table because you cannot manage putting stuff back and then prepare them and then set or whatever. So I come back here and here there are still, I don't know, something like still some bread and some peanut butter or I don't know, cream cheese and everything on the table. And I think, should I start already having breakfast? Ah, no, today I should not. And so you are always there exposed to food and, okay, it's not the easiest.
And it's a beautiful thing as well, though.
Yeah.
Like living between all these things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Quinda, let's start properly because here we have been talking about breakfast and everything. I think people would love it.
Just
I love it. But I mean, I have to go into a tradition and I'm going to tell you what the tradition is. And the
yeah.
tradition is basically to mess up with your name and surname. And then you're going to give us an introduction about you. So let me
Okay.
mispronounce properly your name and surname. I'm here today talking with Quinda Verheul.
Oh,
How does it work?
that's very cute.
Oh, thank you.
The first name is great, Quinda, and then Verheul. But Verheul is a very Dutch name, and pronouncing the H in such a Dutch way is pretty hard for anyone outside of the Netherlands.
Can you say it again? Because I think that the sound is quite similar to the. I mean, the one here in Swiss German is a bit more, is a bit
Oh, yeah.
harsher.
Yeah.
I believe that actually in the Netherlands, so in Dutch is a bit smoother, and in Flemish even smoother.
Oh yeah,
But
very
they're
soft.
all quite similar.
Yeah, Verheul.
Mm. Okay, yeah. Here would have been Verheul, but still, you
Yeah, that
know.
makes sense. But it's almost more like a G.
Mm.
Verheul.
Yeah.
Verheul. But it's very similar.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us more about you.
Yeah, I'm Quinda. I'm an ultra endurance cyclist, visual artist as well, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
currently based in Italy and
Mm-hmm.
moved there a couple months ago. Super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from the Netherlands, and so that's a big shift from flatlands to the mountains, but
Nice.
absolutely loving it. I was the first woman to complete all of the mountain races of Nelson Trees.
So
That
the
was
triple Nelson.
the trip in Nelson. It wasn't in 1 year, but I did the first Atlas Mountain Race. I did the first Hellenic Mountain Race, and then 2024 did the Silk Road Mountain Race. And when I finished, Nelson said, "You are the first solo woman to finish all three."
Mm-hmm.
And that was an unexpected, very honored moment, actually. So it was very cool.
So you didn't plan it in advance. You just wanted to do
No,
it.
not really. And then I realized, you know what? I'm gonna do the Atlas Mountain Race as well. What was it, like a year ago? And that meant like I also did them in 1 year, not in one calendar year, but also all three races in 1 year. Now it's a big thing, to do all three races in 1 year, and it's where we headed as well
Mm.
for 2025. But that's a story for later, maybe.
Okay. Also, because next year there's going to be the fourth. I just had a conversation with Nelson. It went live with
I'm so
the
excited for
fourth
that
Monterey.
one.
I mean, Turkey is such an amazing place.
Yes,
And
absolutely. And I think the mountains, they will offer a lot of options also for the future. So I think it will continue to be spectacular in a way that he might change the course every year. So with Atlas Mountain Race, you can really learn about the course, but then when you have a place where you can change the route a lot, that this means that for new participants that are going, or like even people that do it year after year after year, there's something new to discover, and I think that makes it really really exciting. So yeah, it's going to be a good one, I think.
absolutely. I mean, it's also with the Silk Road Monterey. So also in Kyrgyzstan, Nelson is changing. This year it's going to be
Yeah, it's
completely
changing every
different.
year. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to be amazing. But yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
we were talking
Yeah, and
about
maybe
you.
if I continue the introduction, I would
Yes.
say when I'm not on the bike,
Yeah.
I work on artworks, and they are inspired by landscapes, both where I write through, but also um, journalistic and political things that happen with landscapes. How we as humans um, use and abuse landscapes. And I try to address them in a very aesthetic way with materials like marble, glass, concrete, and
Mhm.
sand. And I love finding ways to bring like endurance, creativity, storytelling together in an artistic way.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so that's me.
Maybe we can. Can I adjust probably something like poke a bit in this second in this aspect? I mean, never say second.
Absolutely. Go for
So
it.
the artistic one. Where are you at the moment? Because I mean, the thing that I remember, you were actually doing. I mean, following any of your big adventure. I remember also you actually being part and then actually starting an exhibition and everything. Where are you at the moment? So you're also already thinking about something, you are seeking this inspiration, you are all focused on the adventure side of your life at the moment, or you have already something in mind?
Yeah, it's a great question. I basically gave myself, because of moving to Italy and knowing that 2025 is like a special year for me race wise, like I really wanted to go full gas on this experiment with my body, basically, like find out what my how I physically and mentally could push myself. And I knew that moving to another country would be pretty exhausting to find your rhythm and your way to manage all the things. But I know as well that by spending a lot of time on the bike, I do a lot of pre-work. So I'm doing a lot of conceptual thinking on where I want my work to go.
Yeah.
And in a world where everything moves pretty fast and we are, in a way, demanding new stuff all the time, I thought it would be really nice to give myself like a year to think about what my next series of work will be. And I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts, and I think there's some real good stuff going to happen towards the end of the year. I found a new studio, which is really amazing.
That's what I wanted to ask you as well. I mean, with the moving
Yeah.
from one country to the other, this could be actually kind of a challenge, right? Moving from the studio that you had before and everything and finding something in the new place.
Absolutely. And also like you had your routines and like the people that you work with or where you're getting your materials, and all of that is shifting. And I think it's in a good way. But yeah, my studio becomes a little bit smaller, which is fine for the time being, I think. And this might also shift the approach a little bit of what size of works I'm making. Maybe working more in nature, and so yeah, adjusting the approach a little bit, which is deliberately. So that's all very good. Yeah, and it took some time because I found the studio, but I didn't have my tools yet. I had everything in a storage here in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned before to you that I'm currently in the Netherlands. I will spend some time in Bristol in the coming days, coming back, and then driving the car back with all my tools and some materials. And yeah, this means that over the summer, when I'm back from my next adventure, I can escape a little bit in the studio and do some work there, and probably also reflect on what has happened. So that's going to be nice.
Absolutely. I'm gonna
Decompressing while making art is always a very, very nice way to reflect on things.
absolutely also because your art is anyways a lot of how would you say creation. So it's really doing something with your hands, and this actually can really clear your mind. It's for sure representing something, some concept that you have in mind, and what you want to express. But also on the other side is really, I mean, hard work with your hands, and that's actually usually helps in order to decompress. And how would you say in this kind of process what you have done?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you say it really well. And by doing this process, or like by working with the hands and letting things happen, it's very similar by doing all the pre-work before you're going to a race, and then while in the race you're kind of trust or have this confidence that whatever you have prepared for is falling into place. Like you're doing the thing, and when you're lucky, you find some flow, and the same thing. There's some similarities between making art and racing ultra distance races. It's quite fascinating to explore that, because when I started ultra racing, I really wanted to keep these two worlds separately. So I thought like the art world is the art world, and the cycling niche ultra distance world is they are not meant for each other. But there's some very exciting stuff happening when you actually merge them. And so, yeah.
Quite interesting. And really, I think we're going to go back and forth anyways. We're going to get back to this conversation. But I don't want to make this question and actually to sound too pretentious on saying that. But from my point of view, even just what you are doing, I mean, we met at your first ultra endurance race. It was Atlas Mountain Race. It was Morocco 2020. And it was the first race that you did. It was just something like, okay, let's go outside. Let's see how I'm going to react. And my body's going to react, and my head is going to react. But since then,
I had no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I remember having this conversation with you, really going into the every little tiny details that are so different from daily life usually. But then
Absolutely.
now, 5 years later, you're actually going, and we're going to talk quickly about that. Not quickly, we're going to talk in a bit about that. You're going probably the most iconic and, I would say, visible and probably life-changing ultra endurance event of them all. We're talking about Tour Divide. But
Yeah.
actually, also just this path from the beginning until now, it is itself a performance. What do you think? I have this thing in mind, actually seeing how yourself change, how your mindset, body, attitude, and actually routine, and also your art changed. This is all together, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And I actually think that Nelson and there's some other organizers, like Camille Macmillan, who organizes further. I think in a way the route is an artwork as well,
Yeah,
because you have this massive experience and you you have the bodily experience, but also you have all these views and these organizers taking you on this journey through a landscape, and it's really, really, really special. And I remember in one of the podcasts where Nelson is chatting with Mel Webb, he is saying that he is taking the riders in the evening on to Telluride Pass, and he said there's nothing quite like it, to see like hundreds of riders with hair torches coming down a mountain,
that's
because
true.
when in your life is something like that happening. And it's often that I say that this is some of the most special things for me as well. As if people ask me why do you do this, there's a few reasons, but during a race, you will ride very long days and you ride through the night, and these are things that normally you wouldn't do yourself. You wouldn't put yourself in such situations. You need the environment of a race for that. But being out there in the night and waking up by the sunrise or laying in your bivvy looking at the stars, those moments are um yeah it's only in a race environment that everything is so vivid, and so your whole body and being is so awake. So comparing it to like an artwork, the journey from the first race to where I am now, yes, that too, but the races itself I think is an artwork as well. But it's really, really nice overlap, or
Yeah.
I say that comparison.
And also the experience itself, right? You were telling us that you took part, so you started the Atlas Mountain Race twice. And we actually also were saying that more or less there, the parkour, so the track is more or less the same. There's not so much
Yeah.
that you can really change there. But for sure, even, I mean, it's not always the same. It's anyways, your body is actually living two different things, and your experience is different. And actually also probably your own body out of the experience, it's actually living different feelings and different, kind of
Yeah,
experiences
you're in
themselves.
a different period of your own life,
Yeah.
so you have different things to process. You have different things that you project on, and the conditions of the weather might be different.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a really, yeah, not even if you do the race twice, it's never the same.
Yeah.
Although I've said I will never do a race twice, but Atlas Mountain Race I did it twice.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, yeah. But also, I mean, as you were saying, at the end, there are different kind of feelings and a different kind of experience that you're doing. So yeah, that's
absolutely.
super nice. Let's go actually into that, and then we're gonna talk probably about anything else. I'm not checking my notes though. Let me see. Yes. I'm not gonna follow the notes anyways. I was checking them. Probably I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Okay.
We were talking about Tour Divide, right?
Let's talk
So
about Tour Divide.
exactly.
We can talk about Tour
It
Divide.
was a bit also, I mean, probably it was in your plan since the beginning, right? Or at least since you knew that more or less this year you wanted to do it, but you want to be careful on anything out and actually how to communicate it, and also careful also to kind of put yourself in the spot where you're saying, okay, I'm saying that, so I'm going to do it. But the
Yeah, I really like, I kind of like this idea of doing something and then say that you did it instead of like, I'm going to do it and then end up not doing it.
yeah,
I like to be honest and I like to be sincere in the things that I do and put out there. So I don't know, bragging about my plans for this year doesn't really make sense until I did it. So
yeah,
that's kind of my approach. And at the same time, I know that more and more I'm getting like into this. I don't know if I can say that, but like a bit of a public figure or something, where you have like responsibilities to certain sponsors, to share your plans or what you're training for. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with the story. I forgot where I came from, but yeah, to just do what you're doing and yeah, just talk about what you did afterwards or something. Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah, yeah. But it makes a lot of sense actually. And then, no, I absolutely understand your point of saying actually, it's better actually to be 100% sure of what I'm doing and being completely into that, and then communicate it, instead of just planning, having in mind the escape door by saying, ah, but in any case, in case I can just drop out. It's better actually to be 100% committed and doing what you're saying and just
Yeah, and
being
I
sure.
am committed, and I really, when I do something, I want to do it well.
Yeah,
And this doesn't mean that doing it well means winning. I just love or like to do the best I can do within that moment. Um, yeah, you never know what the outcome is of a race because it's long, a lot can happen. It's all exciting stuff. Each race has will have inevitably cool stories happening. So
yeah,
um, yeah, so much can happen, and even leading up to races, a lot can happen.
100%.
So
Yeah.
life throws you some curveballs, and we know that. And this doesn't mean that I'm not afraid of those things. I'm not afraid that things don't go the way I plan. But just yeah, take it step by step. Do the first thing first, and then we go to the second thing. And yeah, that's how I like to approach it. And I think this is like the most healthy way.
Absolutely. Why Tour Divide?
Yeah, it's been, I guess, lingering in my head for a while. It's such a, I think the right word for it is a legendary race.
It is.
It's long. It's crossing a whole continent, or not a whole continent, but yeah, it's massive, long.
Mm-hmm.
So many incredible, inspiring people have finished it in front of like before me. When I started racing, I remember watching videos about Lau Wilcox, and I think she's been a big inspiration for me
Mm-hmm.
in my own racing career. Like knowing that she paved the way in a way for me, like being an example. And then many other women that set some record times on this course, which like Megan last year,
Mm-hmm.
incredible, Alexandra, Hannah Simon, yeah, a ton of other people. And I kept playing with the idea of what you have in the world of cycling, where the big goal would be Giro or Tour de France. I feel like um, when I did like the toughest races kind of on this side of the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, now I'm excited on to figure out the tough races on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's a new field. There's not that many from the Netherlands or Europe, and especially women
Yeah.
to do that. It's not cheap as well because there's a lot of traveling involved and long time away from home. Um, yeah, so I guess I've always been excited to um, explore new challenges and find ways to find my own limits.
Hmm.
Yeah, and see it as a big experiment where this body and mind can go.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's super interesting because I have been talking with so many people about the Tour Divide. I remember actually in one of my first episodes, I mean, not one of my first episodes, but for sure a long
Yeah,
time ago, talking about it with Lyle as well.
yeah,
And she was actually telling me how much it's kind of an iconic and unique race that you can follow because of different conditions. You can find really, I don't know, uh, something like on one way and on the other. So go and reverse so many seasons because
absolutely.
the things that you can find actually up to the mountains, then you go as soon as you go south is again something like deserty and dusty, then again some mountains,
So
and then
true.
raining and snow, and that's incredible what you can live. And also the landscape that probably you're gonna tell me more about that as soon as you're gonna be there, but the
Yeah.
landscapes are gonna be incredibly good and new and inspiring. That's another thing. And then also the people that you meet, they're just not only the other racers, but just the community that is there. The I think that actually the concept of Trails Angels was born there. People that are
Oh, really?
there, yeah, I think so. And people
It's
that
very
are,
fitting, I think, meeting all these people that have been there. Because I think recently I was looking at I can't remember the name of this archive, but there's one place along the route that back in the days, the riders that did the Tour Divide, because now we're talking about a race, but it's a route that exists
yes.
for like a long time, and people have been touring it and taking like a, a long time to do it. But people would go there and they would take their picture before we had this like social media and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the first races was like 1973 or something.
Yeah.
Um, but to have all these pictures of all these people that have been in front of you, and the funny thing to me was like I saw a few of those pictures, and nothing not that much has changed over the years.
Yeah.
Like I think the spirit and the way we set up our bikes, frame bags, not new, was already there. Saddlebags, I saw them in like 70s as well.
Yeah.
So there's in the essence of like two wheels, a frame, and like strapping your stuff on your bike, and just take a leap. I guess that's beautiful, and that this place still exists there, and there's a ton of
Nice.
other like iconic places where these people have been there forever,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, they have seen all these people pass through, and that's really special.
And they're waiting for them every year.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
spots where they can get the pancakes, spots where they can have just something like shelter to stay. And it's that's an I think that this is probably, I mean, landscape is super important, the route itself it's super important, but actually the spirit behind it and the spirit around it is just so iconic and so legendary, as you said.
Yeah, and I think I'm excited to see it for myself because now I'm talking about just from other stories and from
Mm.
stories other people are telling me, but to hear the stories for myself and to see them with my own eyes. And I'm also really excited for the landscapes, but I'm also excited to meet the people on the course and hear their stories and where they come from and their motivations in life. And yeah, it's always yeah, it's beautiful experiences to share together and new friendships coming. So
No, that's
it's gonna be
incredible.
really, really nice.
Yeah. And yeah, again, I mean, I've been hearing these stories. I mean, again, I talked with Lyle in the podcast. I talked with Sofiane also personally and also during a podcast about it. And
Yeah,
Nelson, I mean, the first time that I met Nelson, I remember that he was telling, and we talked about that also in the last podcast we recorded how much he was obsessed by Tour Divide, that he wants to do it. And that's another thing. Josh, another person, Josh Shibet, same
yeah,
thing. He thinks about actually the Tour Divide over and over. And there is kind of this magnet pushing people. Again, also, I mean, I forgot Justinas. It was another person we talked a lot about it. There is this kind of magnet that seems like is bringing people there, and I mean, it's super cool every year to follow this kind of new adventure that comes. Now, probably the media coverage about it is a bit bigger, I would say. So it's a bit more broad than it was before, but it's still not at the same level as the TCR, for example, or
Yeah,
the mountain
and
races. And I think that this makes also another element of magic to the race.
I so agree with that. You don't pay, yeah, you don't pay any race fee.
Yeah,
You make a donation, and there's no media coverage. And I think myself would go into that a little bit different as well. We'll talk about it later as well, but I won't I won't do any Instagram updates on my stories. I
yeah,
think we'll approach it a little bit different, to try to be as much in the race as well, and like make this an experience for me, but also to honor the spirit of the race, because yeah, it's not about that. It's really just this course that's there for years, and it's not changing, and like only slight adjustments.
yeah,
And it's so true to the spirit of what this sport is about. And yeah, I think it's something to really take, or to treat it with honor,
absolutely.
I'd say.
Yeah. Maybe let's take it off the way, because I mean, this is not going to be a podcast about the BroomWagon. So it's not the BroomWagon about the BroomWagon. It's a bit more about Quinda. But we want to say that, and we have to say that. I received a message from Quinda. It was the end of last year. By saying, look, Stefano, I'm doing this thing this year. I'm going to the Tour Divide. What do you think actually having a talk and actually doing something together
Yeah,
to this event? And then, of course, I flipped completely the table saying, yes, let's do it. It's not going to
but
be
let's do something more.
exactly. We are not doing only this kind, because I think that the thing that you were thinking about and you were planning is
Oh, I love
to
it
have
so
this
much.
kind of conversation. But then I flipped the table again and I said, okay, why don't we do something more? Something like some chronicles of Quinda during the Tour Divide. So something that do you want to say what we're going to do? You say it.
Yeah, sure. Basically, we had a little chat, like, what should we do? Let's have a chat. Sure, Kuna, let's have a chat. But also, what if you could just like leave me some voice notes, and I will comment on that, and we can like we will collect a WhatsApp group, and people can comment on that as well. And basically, I will just give you updates on how I'm doing, what's on the course, things that I encounter, or
Say what, Stefano? You did it again? So we are gonna comment on Quinda's Tour Divide this year? That's incredible. That's super incredible. Thanks a lot, Quinda, for the opportunity. Telephone Voice is gonna still be with you on commenting everything that will happen there. So, just to put everything on the correct way, Stefano is not really good in planning and to say things clearly. From the start of the Tour Divide, 13th of June 2025, second Friday of June, like every year, Quinda will update Stefano through a WhatsApp group where a lot of supporters are gonna be, and Stefano will transform everything in an episode, short episode with updates from Quinda on the Tour Divide. And Telephone Voice is gonna be with you commenting as well.
yeah. And it's going to be an experiment because we have no idea what's going to happen. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. And in that way, it's kind of like collected. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be fun. And then you will comment on it. So
Yeah. I don't know
we can
about what.
listen to
I don't know about what. I will probably just say my classic things, something like commenting
oh, your
on
curiosity and everything.
exactly, just put in there, because I have actually no experience with ultra endurance. I have no experience of riding in the US. So it's just gonna be something like I'm gonna be the classic person there listening to your voice and trying to understand, okay, then what's going on, commenting something and understanding what
You
it
love
is.
conversations though, and you're very curious. So I
Absolutely,
think
that's the main thing.
that's the ingredients you need for this.
Yeah, I will try not to be too much into that. So again, also like this one, also the live that we are doing, it's not gonna be myself talking. It's a bit more listening to your experience there, and also as I would say, as you were saying, commenting that are coming actually, the comments that are coming from this WhatsApp group is gonna be great. I think that there was so for sure I did something similar to that in a couple of races with Josh. Uh,
Yeah,
we did an Atlas Mountain race. My memory, I think it was 23. And the Accursed last year, we did it as well. The first time that the Accursed was happening.
beautiful race as well. Yeah.
Yeah, have you done it?
What?
The Accursed, have you done it? Or
No. I think this year was the second year,
yes,
and
exactly, yes.
but yeah,
Yeah, of
I've
course.
seen it, and I think the landscapes are amazing,
Yeah,
and it's very attractive to me. So
yeah. I have to say that actually Albania was the place where I made my first bikepacking trip that brought me here, riding the bike almost every day and having a
yeah,
podcast about cycling and being excited and writing about cycling and doing everything about cycling was everything was born in Albania. So at a certain point probably I need to shout
it's
out
special. Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
and be involved into the race, not racing because it's not my thing, but at least or going there and doing a bit of the track or maybe asking to the lost dot people if they want also to have me there, but that's another story. We're talking about you and the life that we're gonna do. So I did already something like this, but the inspiration that came to me and I wanted to do the same thing more or less when I was at the 2019 Silk Road Mountain Race with the official podcast and also in 2020 for the
Yeah,
Atlas
it was
Mountain
so
Race.
fun. Yeah.
It was not really the thing, it couldn't happen, but I remember that there was something like a hotline where back in the days during the Tour Divide, there was a phone number where people can call and leave their comments, riders can their comments or their impression and everything, and somewhere were actually broadcasted. I don't know how, I don't know when, but
I
there
love
was
this
this
idea.
hotline. People could just stop in any kind of public phone and call and leave a voice note, and that's
But
exactly
this
what
is
we're
incredible
doing.
because in a way, doing such a trip, it's quite nice for the people at home and the
Yeah,
people you care about, for them to know that you're safe and that you're feeling okay.
yeah,
Uh, so this concept is great,
yeah,
and I like the idea of like being in this phone box and calling home
yeah.
or calling this phone number.
That's nice. No, and also the concept for myself is that, of course, I've done it so many times, and I would love to do it again. And probably I'm gonna do it again, doing some live podcasting and talking with different people. But I have the feeling that usually when you are there, when Stefan is there, or whoever is there, taking off a microphone and recording and with the headphones or whatever, it's something a bit different because it's anyways, how can I put that?
Kind of interrupting, I guess.
And interrupting, but also an encounter with civilization, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
basically, I've been actually in this kind of situation many times that people were waiting for the media car because finally I'm seeing somebody,
Right.
while with a rider, a racer, Quinda in this case, sending out a voice message anytime during the race or during the experience, during the adventure, is a bit more. Don't want to say real, but I'm gonna say real. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna be yourself pulling out a voice memo, and most of the time probably you're gonna be there with yourself. Of course, maybe.
Yeah, in general, it would be a one way direction. It's
Yeah,
kind of one place where we collect my thoughts, and I like this a little bit better, where then throwing it all on Instagram, where you get reactions immediately, and
yeah.
then you have to deal with the reactions. Um, so yeah, I love this idea.
Yes, and that's another thing. I mean, you are not actually putting out there, I'm going to put something out there. You know what I mean? It's not that you're putting a story out there. It happened to everybody of us, right? Having the pressure, the social pressure when you're putting a post and whatever and checking what's going on. Who liked it? Where's the comment? Or somebody answered to that. Who watched it? In this
Exactly.
case, you're just sending out a voice message. So I'm super excited, I have to say, also because this magnitude of a race, it's so special. And I think a lot of cool things are going to be there. I will try again. I will try not to be too intrusive, but I'm super excited.
You won't. It
Yeah,
will be. It will be fine.
yeah,
We'll figure it out.
absolutely. And actually, the cool thing is that it's not something that we are gonna actually sign there on stone. We are gonna do whatever it happens. We are gonna follow the flow. I know that the both of us can do it in this way. So whatever happens, we can follow the right
Oh,
flow and make sure
absolutely.
everything is there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to the tour divide. And here I'm going to go on the interesting question that can also be, I define them myself, boring, but I can't wait to hear your experience on that, anyways. But the
Mhm.
boring because everybody probably could ask something like this. And I can be boring in this time as well. Preparation. How everything
Preparation.
changed. I mean, you have been doing so many of those super incredible races, right? And probably the most difficult one, again, probably most iconic now, is really almost catching up with the Tour Divide. This is Silk Road Mountain Race.
Yeah.
How different it is to prepare for that and for this.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Silk Road Mountain Race was pretty daunting as well, where a lot of a long thought process was needed to prepare all the things. Yeah, to prepare mentally as well,
Hmm.
to visualize the course, to visualize the things that could go wrong, um, to be ready with all my gear. And um, yeah, I think a Silk Road Mountain Race and the video that was made. So there was an amazing documentary, Wild Horses, and this seeing that one was like, oh, this kind of race is incredible, and I want to do that.
Yeah.
And not much later, I found out that the organizer Nelson was throwing a race in the Atlas
Yeah.
Mountain Race, which was his second race hosting, I think.
Hmm.
And I signed up for that, but I didn't have much experience by the time. But the ultimate goal for me has always been to do the Silk Road Mountain Race and go
Okay.
to Kyrgyzstan and see this incredible landscape through the eyes of a race.
Hmm.
And so have done that and having this incredible experience, and even I would say the time before I was racing, because I went on my own into the mountains to get ready for that and like acclimatize for the altitude. Um, that was already almost more than enough. Like I was already satisfied with being there, and that was really special.
Hmm.
And going into Tour Divide, it's kind of different because up to now I felt like everything was very new, and Tour Divide is also very new. But this time I took it a little bit more serious because I knew it is going to be a very long race, and I want to do it well. And the things I kind of address the things that I'm not very good at, and that's like very um, to train properly and have a good routine. And I'm numbers and watts and intervals and stuff like that. It doesn't interest me, and therefore I never really paid much attention to how to become faster or how to become stronger or how to improve my fitness. The overall thing I did was just trying to stick to a certain amount of hours
Hmm.
every week. Um, and so I actually searched for a coach, and I found one, John, and his wife Claire. They both have played a big role in preparing me the past year and improving my fitness and becoming faster, but also mentally getting ready for something like this. Because in previous races, I've struggled with certain things, especially kind of the anxiety before a race.
Hmm.
Sometimes we have highs and lows, and some of the lows are pretty scary. And it's good to look at them and where they come from and how to deal with them better and in a more healthy way.
Yeah.
And so that's been really interesting. I learned a lot about fueling and how important fueling is also within the training. If you're day in day out are exercising and recovering, it's really important to eat enough during the training. And I never really paid much attention to that as well. So yeah, I've been looking at how many carbs I'm eating, and I learned that you can train your gut, so prepare your body to accept a lot of junk food, basically.
Yes.
Um, yeah, these little things, and then building up a bike, and yeah, I'm like 2 weeks ago, I think we put the whole bike together and all the gear that I'm bringing, and I just had I had tears in so many ways. Like there was just a rush of emotions, but
Yeah.
the overall feeling was incredible, grateful that um, having a dream and then sharing this dream with friends and people and that all believe in what I want to do and supporting me to make this dream a reality. Just yeah, it was just incredible, and I feel so supported by all these people. And you build like this bubble of like a nice team around you, and it's a solo effort. It's not like a team. I don't have like a soigneur and a car and like people that are changing my wheels and stuff, but there's like this kind of emotional support team, that people that bring you further in what you want to do. And I guess I took that more serious, and yeah, looking in over the years, you realize which things on a bike you prioritize. Um, so I also never had like such a good bike fitting before a race, but doing 4,500 kilometers, I realized it's really important to keep the knees happy, keep the butt
Mm.
happy, but your aero bars, you can't just like wing it. They have to be used in a certain way, so your body is in the most relaxing position to keep pedaling all those miles. So um, yeah, I think long story short, a lot has changed,
Okay.
and I definitely like uh, took it up a notch and took it more serious. My whole preparation is a little bit more serious than the races before.
And how do you feel about that now? I mean, after new, again, new hits and finding yourself in front of interval training, eating in a different way, or at least a bit more in a, not consistent, but a bit more of in an aware way, and fixing up your body, everything like that. How do you feel after this process now?
Um, I think sometimes I have mixed feelings.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's mixed feelings. So the other day, I had a conversation with someone, and because he was spending some time in our house and joining my trainings, and he said, I don't think many people realize how much time and effort you put into this. It's a real tough job, and I think I struggle with that sometimes because I don't want to. I have the most incredible job, like this being out there in the mountains and riding my bike and being outside a lot, and uh yeah, I don't want to take it for granted, and it's amazing that I get to do that, but I'm tired sometimes
I
as
can
well.
imagine, of course.
And sometimes I don't want to ride my bike, and sometimes I kind of want to use my brain a little bit more,
Mm.
and I try to do things on the bike, like learning new things, listening to podcasts, and like feeding the intellect as well. But overall, I think it's so cool to make a promise to yourself where you say like, I want to do this experiment and really go for it and see your fitness improve and
Mm.
see how your body can adjust when you put in the time and the effort to improve the situation that you had and where you want to go. And there's always room to learn new things, and there's always room to improve stuff, and you have to set a yeah, at some point you're done,
Yeah.
but I think this is a really cool process, and I'm really enjoying the process itself. And for me, this is an important thing. Like, yes, of course, I sometimes I don't want to ride my bike, but most of the days I'm excited to be outside and ride my bike. And to I think Philly Bowden says this really interesting. She says, "Love the grind." So, like, loving the experiment and loving to put in effort to become a better person, a better athlete, a better adventurer, outdoors person. Yeah.
That's super nice. I mean, you're training a lot outdoor, right? And you just moved to Italy. There is actually a climb because I mean, we train on climbs. We have to say.
So many climbs.
Exactly. What's your favorite one there?
Oh, my favorite one. There's this one kind of canyon that when it becomes spring, it's really nice to be there. In the winter, it's very, very cold, very wet. Um, it's a climb that goes up to Fossa. It's
Of
it's a little town.
course, I know it. Yes, it's super
And
beautiful.
recently I brought Adam with me with his drone, and he took like a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
But you can also see a mine from there. So they're taking away the mountain. And I'm always fascinated with mines as well, and kind of relates to my art as well. But that's a beautiful climb, and I think that's probably one of my favorites at the moment. But there's I haven't been much in the Dolomites because until now the weather has been really horrendous out there, and it's a choice. Like, if you want to go there, you have to prepare for tough weather and hail, and
Yeah,
there's still snow up there. So yeah, maybe, yeah, there's so much to explore there, and I think this
absolutely.
is this is partly why it's been exciting for me to go outside a lot, even in the rain, to find these new roads and find these new places where I haven't been. And there's always something that is still to explore. So that's uh, very entertaining and exciting.
Nice, nice. You touch base quickly on the gears, also on your bike. Can you tell us more what you are equipping there? So, what are you building to go out there
Oh, yeah.
for?
I decided also after Silk Road Mountain Race and last year riding on a full suspension that I wanted a full suspension, but something very light. And I got to chat with Orbea, and this year Orbea is sponsoring me with the bikes. So I'm bringing a Wheeze, OYZ, and this is a full suspension, a downcountry bike, I'd say, a cross-country bike.
Yeah.
And I'm setting it up pretty drastically with a drop bar because I realized that it would be really nice to have a few more hand positions. So it became this, I don't know, it felt like a monster truck when I put it. It's not pretty. It's just weird.
Okay.
And kind of the weirdness or like the ugliness of it is very attractive for me. I gave it my spirit color, so it's light pink and
Okay, that's what I wanted
like
to ask you. Yeah, I always appreciated the colors of your
color
bicycles.
is
So,
very important to me.
yeah.
And basically all my bikes have a color that resonates in a way. With the brown logo. And this brown logo will go really well with the custom made bags of Tilfin because I will release that later, but I painted the Dyneema and they made like the custom bags that they do for us R&D riders.
Yeah, because usually are white, right?
They're usually white, and they will change it to another fabric because they're going to do some experiments with a new Dyneema fabric. But yeah, for this one, I applied my creativity on the fabric, and we have something experimental done. We get the aero bars. Not entirely sure, but currently I put Thunderbird tires on the bike. They're pretty fast. They potentially could last like the whole race.
Okay.
But maybe I want a bit more grip on the front, and we'll see if I need to change like some tires somewhere halfway. It's possible that they will change.
You're talking about
And
Schwalbe, right? Thunderbird.
sorry,
Schwalbe Thunderbird. The
yes,
brand
it's
Schwalbe.
Brand Schwalbe,
Yeah.
Schwalbe,
Okay.
Schwalbe, Schwalbe,
Oh, is it
Schwalbe.
Schwalbe? Yeah, they're German. Schwalbe. Should be.
We pronounce it now a lot.
Uh,
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, they've been supporting as well, and that's been really incredible.
yeah.
I'm wearing the pedalet kit, and I'm going for something that keeps me. It's like light. It keeps me dry when I'm sweating, and they provided some really cool, lightweight but durable waterproofs,
Mm.
which I'm actually testing, but I'm pretty confident about the quality of it. And it's been really exciting to work with Physique and what they have been experimenting currently. So I got to test some of their shoes and give them some feedback on that. And yeah, so I will be riding with their saddle and their shoes, and I've been riding with that for the past years, and I've always been very happy with that. So I'm just gonna stick
Absolutely.
with what I trust. For sleeping, I have Hyperlight mountain equipment, and I'm bringing a one-person tent. I've chosen that because actually both in Silkworth Mountain Race and during Highland Trail, I really regretted not bringing a tent.
Just the
And
BV there.
yeah, it's just a bivvy. And every time I had to find like extra shelter, I just wanted to stay more light. And although I want to make my whole setup pretty light for Tour Divide, at the same time, I realize if it's like an over 2 week race, and potential pretty horrendous weather, and not even the weather, also mosquitoes and bugs, even snakes and other stuff. I really like the idea of having to bring my own comfort and not having to need to go indoors. So yeah, I decided that a tent would be the best option. And Hyperlight mountain equipment has been a dream for years, and I always thought that this would be impossible.
Yeah.
And I found out they are the most amazing cheerleaders and fantastic people. And I'm super excited to use the tent and quilt that they offered me. So that's going to be exciting. I tested now for a bit, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
What else? I probably forgot stuff. I bring the chorus, and
So the plan is never to charge it.
I probably have to charge it once.
Okay.
But the battery is crazy, and it's charging when you're not using it, and especially on a course like Tour Divide, I think it's almost designed for something like that. So yeah, I'm confident that that's a real good choice, and it means that I have to worry less about charging devices, which is a real deal. I do have a dynamo, and I will be charging my power banks and other stuff while I'm riding. And because of the pace of the race, the power output from that is higher than what I've been used to.
Okay.
So that's nice. That gives me some confidence because I have been running out of batteries in the past, and that's it's just overuse of the phone, I guess. So yeah, listening to podcasts or stuff like that.
Yeah.
What else? Did I forget something? SRAM gearing. I'm going with. Oh, it's the first time actually. I'm gonna go with Bluetooth shifting.
Okay. That's a good idea. So you're not doing it like Who did it? I think it was actually Justinas. Don't remember the race that he didn't bring actually his spare batteries. Are you bringing spare batteries? Don't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
but what could happen with spare batteries is when they get too cold,
Yes.
they die.
Mm.
So that's something to really pay attention to. I'm bringing a charger as well,
Yeah, makes sense.
and yeah, trying to be aware of that risk. But for the thumb, it's going to be a huge improvement because I've always had like at some point it's just like it's tough. It's tough to shift with the cable and to push
No,
the
for
button
sure.
all the time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Maybe I don't know
and
something like a
hope breaks. Like as always, like hope has been
yeah.
very supportive with gear, and I love it. And actually, something I want to say about Hope, which I really really love, because it's almost like as if the brakes live. When you had like a long descent, the rotors they give like a ping, so they like kind of cool down. And like the metal is like shrinking back to I don't know, but it like has this like sound. It's almost like music, and I
Okay.
don't know. I think this is so specific for Hope, and it brings me a lot of joy. Maybe it's the weirdest thing, but I really love that about Hope brakes. So,
No, that's nice. Yeah, yeah. I also have up brakes actually to my rigid mountain bike, but
which color?
I mean the brakes or the bike. I cannot tell you the both of them.
Oh, maybe both, but
Exactly.
I was meaning the
The
brakes because
blue.
they.
It's blue.
Oh, cool,
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
But the fact is that I mean I bought them secondhand, but I wanted to have them 100%. So I just wanted basically to save some money. My color
Yeah.
would have been because I have a yellow bike, so
Okay.
it's more or less okay. I
I
wanted
would
to
say
have
it's almost like a Mondrian setup. You only need some more red,
yeah,
white and red.
yeah, yeah. For
Cool.
me, I wanted to go for violet.
Yeah, that would be nice too.
Violet and yellow would be nice.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
combination.
and I said that's why I mean I love Ope because they are doing I think super incredible things, especially the brakes. They are incredibly nice,
Yeah.
and also to use them it's day and night. I love them, but the thing that actually pushed me to get those because I wanted to have a bit more color on the
Yeah.
bike. And
Yeah.
so I have also blue pedals then because I bought everything together. The headset is also blue, and I wanted to have some of this combination. Anyways, I have in the plan in the next future to get rid of some carbon bikes and get only one metal bike, and then in this case, and it's going to be a drop bar bike in this case, and
Lovely.
yeah, I believe that actually then this is going to be another option to get the Ope again, and probably in that case I'm going to buy them new because I wanted to have the color that I want because it's going to be the project of my last bike probably. It's good to
Yeah, we
say.
always say that
Exactly.
when
It's good
we.
to say because I'm going to convince myself because I know already how much money I'm going to spend on that. But it's a good excuse.
We always need a little bit of excuse. If we sell this and that, and then I make some money from that, and then I can invest it in this next crazy build, and then I
Yeah.
probably put in a lot of it, like another 2,000 euros to finish it up.
Yeah, I
Something
mean,
like
for
that.
me, that's exactly the blocker. Nobody wants to buy my road bike, so as soon as I'm gonna sell the road bike, then everything's
Yeah.
gonna happen. I don't need a road bike anymore. I'm too old for that thing.
No, it's nice though, but
I used that on Friday
not for
after
fun.
exactly. I used it
Yeah.
on Friday after 2 months. I was not using it because I want to keep it clean. I want to keep it fresh service because I want to sell it. But then at a certain point, I said, okay, you know what? I have 2 hours. I want to go fast and furious and enjoy it. It's another
Fast
level.
and
It's
Furious.
it's super enjoyable.
Yeah, if it's sunny and you get to have a bit more speed, I really love it
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, you feel like flying.
It's nice. That's nice. So no, super nice actually. Thanks for bringing us through your setup. Sounds really exciting. I can't wait actually to see the photos of it, especially of the backs. And it's probably we're gonna see it around for the launch of this podcast. I haven't seen it yet, but probably we're gonna have it soon.
Absolutely. I will
Yeah,
share some.
absolutely. And that's super nice. And yeah, seems like I want to just touch base a little bit. It's super interesting, right? Because we probably are exposed so much on pro cycling on what a sponsor is. So a sponsor usually for whatever we see on TV is somebody who gives you or gives you not, but usually gives you some equipment for your bike. And it
Yeah.
feels kind of a bit, I mean, I know also people from some brands that are really good on engaging also with the riders and having good kind of relationship with them and talk. But usually it's, I give you that, you make it work, and thanks us later. For ultra endurance, or at least adventure cyclists like you are, or for the bubble where we are at,
Yeah.
it's a bit more, I mean, for sure there is some equipment and doing something together, but it's a bit more this. It's actually creating something together, giving feedback and making something cool to be out there, but also a lot of support, not only financial support, but just, you're gonna do this and it's gonna be nice. Let's make this together to make it even more enjoyable, to push you outside of your home to train and doing everything like that. And then sending a couple of good messages or whatever as soon as something is done or during the event itself. I've seen so many of those
Yeah.
chats around with sponsors that really become part of this support family friends team, and that's incredibly good, right?
I think you see this sometimes where people share like the brands I work with, I would have bought them as well. And I can say that about every brand that I work with, that first of all, I'm confident in the products they make and the effort that goes into it. So I'm a huge fan of each one that I work with, beyond the fact that they sponsoring me. So I say that from an honest perspective. And then each of them has a healthy, or is how you said that, we have a healthy relationship, or they help me to stay healthy. I remember one of the conversations I had with Tilfin this year about the goals that I had for myself. They said, I think it's still, it resonates still with me, because I think it's so important. They said, Quinda, we're going to sponsor you, but we want to say that you don't have to ride a single race. Like, if you existing, we want to support you. And I think this
Nice.
is so important, because this means that for me, there's no pressure from my sponsors to perform.
Yeah.
It's me that puts in the pressure. Like, I want to do that. These are my goals. I want to do it for me. And they are there to support my goals and my things. And this is for all of the sponsors. Like, none of them tells me to win. Nobody tells me to be on a podium or whatever. They love the stuff that I do, and they want to support whatever journey I'm on. And I think I want to keep, like, whatever I'm going to do in the future, whatever dreams are beyond the horizon, this kind of mentality within the cycling world is really important. I think there's more and more topics about the mental health part of cycling, and I think we're more and more trying to be aware of being an inspiration for the next generation as well. And there's so much about performing athletically that can be unhealthy. And so, moving forward, I think this kind of attitude has set like maybe a baseline, because everything below this is unacceptable. But this also means that it's a really high level of what I expect from a mental support of the brands that I work with.
Makes sense.
But it goes both ways, because this means that they have my full trust, and we have open conversations about things, and that's amazing.
That's incredible. No, that's absolutely super nice to hear. And it's so cool that actually some of those topic doors are opening and we can actually really have this conversation. And then also from the brand side, they are open to have this conversation and not only talking about go as fast as you can, try to win some races or win some races. Otherwise, you can be dropped off
And
the list.
the winning races is nice for PR, and it works well for social media and whatever. But it's really good to know that there's more behind that, and there's a really healthy approach, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also have to say that actually I'm super lucky then to be in this conversation and in this space now, in this exact moment in life, because it means that there are also not only winning stories, but all the other stories. I was always trying to fetch these stories around, even during races, outside races, or whatever. For me, it's important for sure. The most important thing for me is to listen to people's stories. And
Yeah.
I have to say that actually I have a bug in my brain, and that actually this bug is that I was never competitive in my life, and I will never be. As soon as a competition, I have to put something like transponder or whatever on my bike, or
Right.
just even just at work. Every time that actually, of course, you need to have goal. Of course, you need to reach some levels. But
What
that's
what do you think? Why are you not competitive? What about being competitive repels you a bit?
is pro that's an amazing question, and for me is actually the everything is only judged in this case with competition is only judged by number, and there
Right.
is so much more because every number is quite
True.
uh, you need to put it in comparison with something else, and this is one
Yeah.
thing. And then I believe that actually competitiveness has some level of being unhealthy, because every time that you are trying to compete, and even just people that are saying, yeah, but I just competing to myself, but you are taking some cheat roads,
Okay.
and you are really trying to push where you should not, and just probably also seeing people socially not in the right level when you are competing, because seeing people as competitor is unhealthy
Yeah.
in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if it's an approach everywhere, but
Yeah.
these are the two
Absolutely.
things.
It's something I've been struggling with as well. This kind of mindset. So yeah, it resonates a lot what you're saying.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
because I mean, I've been situation when I was competitive. I mean, don't get me wrong. Talking
Of
about
course.
not
I
cycling
mean, we're
stuff.
humans in
Exactly.
it's in our DNA to
Yeah.
be competitive in a way.
Yeah. For example, I know it happened to me. Let's not talk about cycling wise, but let's talk about podcasting wise. From time to
Sure.
time, it happened that you have overlaps, right? There are so many outlets out there that are talking about cycling in the way that I'm doing, or in a different way, but the same topics, right? From
Yeah.
time to time, it happened to me. Look, this podcast or this kind of social media, whatever things, they're doing, they're touch basing on the same topic that I'm doing. Look at them. They are doing it with with better numbers than I am, but on the other
Yeah.
side, I'm so better. Then after I think about that, and I think, is this really the right person that I want to be? And then I put everything back in the base. I'm not forcing myself back into the base. I'm just zooming out and seeing everything on perspective. Why am I doing this
Exactly.
kind of thing? I'm doing this kind of thing, first of all, because I like to explore new ways of having conversation. But the most important thing is I doing this because I love having this conversation. Is the feeling that I have as soon as I actually am in this conversation, or I just save my file. I know that actually have
Just saving the
saving my
file.
file is super important.
Not even putting it out there. I
No,
just
no,
had a
no.
great
Saving
conversation and it's recorded. I
is
love
recorded.
that.
Yeah, yeah. Also because at the other side, I mean, I'm there and I recorded, I saved my file, and then I feel, wow, there were so many layers of inspiration that I got there. I became so much of, I would say, a better person without being shy out of it, just by having this conversation. And if people want to listen, all right, myself, I'm already feeling better. And that's
But
good.
that means there's a very intrinsic value, isn't it? And I think that's very important to always be, in a way, honest with yourself to find that intrinsic value. What about the thing that you love so much doing?
Hmm.
What it is exactly that makes you feel happy to do it or like good to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's super
I, th-
nice.
I think it's quite interesting if I kind of shift a little bit
Yeah.
towards the racing, where I think in our lives day to day we get to be so comfortable all the time.
Hmm.
And I think one of the things that racing does for me is to not be comfortable, and that you learn so much about each and every race about yourself, and applying the things that you learn during the race in daily life makes daily life easier.
Ah,
And
okay. So a tough way for learning.
very tough ways, like
Okay.
really hard lessons. But yeah, for sure, I think this is quite interesting. And just this morning, I saw some kids going to school on e-bikes, and I thought to myself, oh, that's interesting. I used to like ride my normal bike, and all these kids these days have like e-bikes to go to school because it's what, like 6 kilometers. It's not a lot, but that's how. And even some of these kids, they have like little tiny little cars, which is like, I guess, a scooter, and they
Mm,
can go on the cycle path. And yeah, we're moving away completely from
it's all right.
from the
That's why we're
topic
here.
of being competitive. But I guess in a way, maybe I'm competitive with my younger self, and just like reflecting on the fact that um yeah, the world for these kids and the world around us is just like too comfortable.
Mm,
And yeah, it scares me sometimes as well to think of, yeah, this next generation who, yeah, has all these options,
no.
taking a little car to school. That's
Yeah,
wild to me.
absolutely.
Instead
No.
of the bike and feeling the rain on your face and having the headwind and things not being easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also because we have to say that, I mean, I have the same thoughts every time, and then at a certain point, I feel like, okay, probably I'm pushing the conversation too much, because I mean, everybody of us had some improvements from our parents'
Yeah.
life most of the time, right? So it's all right. But also on the other side, why shall you get an e-bike to go to school for 5, 6 kilometers, most probably on the flat,
Yeah.
instead of using the normal bike? Is not so much more difficult. Of course, if you have to walk 9 kilometers, 6 kilometers, then and taking the bike, it makes your life way better. But otherwise, with the e-bike, it's just that you are sweating a couple of drops,
Less.
or even less. You are not sweating at all. Instead of sweating a
Yeah.
couple of drops, it's too much. You know what I mean? It's too much.
Yeah, I find it really difficult, and I don't mean to say, because it's incredible to be doing these races, and it's such a luxury to pick your out of comfort thing, right?
Mm,
It's wild being able to do these races and that they exist, because there's so many people out in the world that don't even have this option
yeah,
to
of
to do
course.
it. Let's make that sure. But then there's also a really big part of the world that just rides e-bikes, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Tour Divide. Last question about it.
Okay.
Are you checking, or I mean, are you looking forward so for some highlights, or you are just also thinking about some challenges that you think they're going to be? So how are you projecting yourself there? I mean, you're projecting yourself on the positive and on the negative side. What you can see there?
Oh, what a great question. Kind of makes me nervous immediately.
I'm sorry for
Uh,
that.
no, it's fine. It's a total good question. Um, I guess the thing that makes me nervous is like getting there and
Oh
getting
yes.
the bike in one piece at the start line and being in Canada, and um, things like, what's the border crossing going to be? Because we're moving into the United States, and will they accept
Mm,
my white face going from one country to another country? I imagine that, yeah, we'll have some high alpine stuff. And um, wow, I think the landscape is going to change a lot. I might be bored around Wyoming and having very, very long stretches that are very similar for days on end. That's a bit daunting to me. I know I can get bored, so that will be
mm,
probably the most challenging for me.
okay.
I know I deal pretty well in rather cold and shitty weather. But I also know that everyone else lining up for Tour Divide is prepared for tough situations. Another thing that I realized is, like, it seems really hard to me to scratch in Tour Divide. I think it's one of those races where it's like yeah, even getting to the finish line or getting to like the airport or something, that I don't know. I can't even imagine that. We don't have to think about it because we're not going to scratch. That's not doesn't need to be a plan.
Yeah,
But yeah, for sure that. Um, and I love desert landscapes, so I'm pretty excited that the finish is kind of a desert landscape,
yeah,
which is I think a nice roundup for uh yeah, hopefully the journey I'm going on. If
nice.
that gives an answer to your question.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm already into that. I can't wait actually to see what's going
Uh,
on there. I
yeah.
can't wait. Are you going just to the US just for the race, or you're doing something around it? I don't know, a trip or meeting somebody or.
No, not really. So the plan is I will be more in the US this year, and we can chat about that another time maybe.
Okay,
But here's a little teaser.
okay.
If you follow my coach, he already spoiled everything, but
Ah,
I
okay.
I keep it still a little bit quiet.
Absolutely.
Let's get Twitter fight out of the way first, and then see what's next and how this body recovers from that. Um, so yeah, a little bit of Canada, but not a lot because I will just fly into Calgary, and recovery is probably done best at home. And staying in the US is currently for my wallet a little bit too expensive.
Mm.
And maybe later in the year, I will try to see my father-in-law who lives in Michigan.
Okay.
So yeah, um, he lives at a beautiful lake, and well, Lake Michigan, and it's blue, and it's like I don't know, it's amazing. Um, so we might do that as a recovery finish of this season.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Quinda, seems like we said already a lot. There's anything that you want to add or something that we were missing or.
Oh, I just love this conversation. It felt so natural, and
Absolutely. Thank you.
I love that we had a lot of giggles.
Mm.
And
That's for sure.
overall feeling is being incredible, grateful to be able to do this and get to do this. Just excited now. I'm getting more and more excited.
That's super nice. That's super nice. Well, then I would say that actually we can say goodbye now. Or
Goodbye for
good
now.
for now, and we're gonna talk again for sure. And
Yeah.
people are gonna listen also to everything that happened. I mean, planning. That's another thing that my brain refuses to do. We are
Okay.
planning to
Hello,
go
everyone.
live this.
Stefano is going to do some planning. Pay
Exactly,
attention.
exactly. Listen, I mean, you can listen already the grinding of my brain there. We are planning to go live with this conversation on June the 5th. So basically 8 days from now.
Yeah.
And then your adventure in the US is gonna start basically the same week or beginning of the week after.
Yeah,
So
the week after, around June 13, 14. So I guess a few days in June 15, 16, maybe the
exactly.
first voice notes are coming out.
So basically, people just be ready to hear some new updates in 1 week or so.
Amazing.
And this is going to be incredible. I don't know. I think this, maybe yes, maybe not. Talking about BroomWagon and talking about planning, for sure you're going to have actually everything there. So please be ready to hear what's going on. I don't know if I'm going to also put out some other episodes of the BroomWagon while having your adventure. It could be not.
Could
I
be.
don't know. But I think actually that's something that makes me really exciting. It's something that is going to bring actually, I don't know, a lot of joy in the things that I'm doing with this BroomWagon podcast in this season. So
Yeah.
thanks a lot for saying yes to my request
I
and
love
to make
another
this thing.
experiment, and I love, like, I don't know, creative buzz and people that are enthusiastic. So,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that's something that is never missed actually from my side. When I'm bored,
never.
I'm not enthusiastic. But for this kind of thing, forever, count me in. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Quinda.
Thanks so much, Stefano.
And thanks a lot, Quinda, for the lovely conversation. It was really cool, really inspiring. I mean, I have to say that I really love when the guests themselves feel that at home. So feel so much at home that they are starting asking questions to me. Not because it's a normal conversation. So I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but we went really deep into our conversation, and that's something that I really like because this means actually that we got some familiarity and we can discuss and conversate about things freely on these tunes. Thanks a lot, Quinda. We made it happen. You made it happen. And you heard it correctly, people. From next week on, so now today, as I promised in the podcast, is Thursday, June 5th. 5th. And the Tour Divide will start second Friday of every year in 2025. It's Friday 13th. So 2025. 8 o'clock in the morning, west coast of Canada. 4 o'clock here in Zurich. I don't know. Probably it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Athens, and in Istanbul as well, and should be 3 o'clock in Lisbon. We cover more or less all Europe. And from then I will start receiving, and actually in the chat that I'm already in, we are going to start receiving some updates from Quinda. I will pack them completely unevenly into a little episode like we did already with the shorts with Josh Ibbett, and I'm gonna actually update you. So if you want to keep track or whatever is happening in Quinda's Tour Divide, well, better you listen to that and you follow this space. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you know, everything there. If you push the notification button, you will receive notifications every time that a new episode is live. And I would say in this case, forget about following me on social media for this time, but follow Quinda and everybody who is going to participate to the Tour Divide. Let me think. Max Riese, my really good friend Max, is going to be there as well. And Robin Gemperle is going to be there. And follow Josh and his Ultrascape podcast. Josh and Becky, so Josh Ibbett and Becky Waters, they are going to make next week, I think, a new episode presenting and introducing the Tour Divide of 2025. And then I'm pretty sure that Josh is going to do a coverage of what's going on there in the race. They are going to most probably be follow a bit more the top of the pack. And here we are going to also, most probably also Quinda is not going to be super far away, but we're going to follow the experience of what happens to this race. I mean, I'm super excited. I have to say that Tour Divide is one of those things that I would love to check, to go see in person. So if somebody here that is interested of having a chitty chatter, maybe at the beginning of the race, I would love to be in Banff once in my life, maybe in 2026 as this time. Would love to produce a podcast. Well, just get in contact. Calamaro CC on Instagram, or BroomWagon Podcast also on Instagram, or maybe there is even better, hello@calamaro.cc. Get in touch. I would love to do anything like this. I think I'm gonna make also I'm gonna produce another episode in the meantime. I have already a couple of episodes recorded, but then I will see. Anyways, stay tuned. Something will happen. Quinda, best of luck.